Kiyotaka Ayanokoji seems to breeze through challenges, making hard work appear effortless. But this isn't just a matter of sheer willpower, it's the result of his relentless conditioning in the White Room, where he was trained to push his mind to crave discipline and productivity. This may sound like something straight out of fiction, but what if I told you that rewiring your brain to desire self-improvement isn't just possible, it's backed by science? In this video, I'm going to introduce you to a proven framework that can make the pursuit of self-improvement not just manageable, but deeply rewarding, almost addictive. This method taps into the brain's natural reward system, leveraging neuroscience to transform discipline from a struggle into second nature. But before we break down this framework, we first need to understand how addiction actually works. To do that, let's examine one of the most common addictions of the modern era: social media. Despite being seemingly harmless, platforms like Instagram and TikTok have been carefully engineered to keep us hooked. The reason they are so compelling lies in three critical factors. They overstimulate our senses, provide immediate dopamine hits, and require minimal effort to engage with. These elements work together to supercharge the brain's dopamine production, making social media one of the most addictive digital experiences available. This insight is the key to our framework. If we can take the same principles that make social media irresistible and apply them to personal growth, we can rewire our brains to crave self-improvement. That's why this system is built around three essential pillars: 2 techniques to stimulate your senses, 2 strategies to amplify your dopamine response, and 2 methods to make self-improvement feel effortless and enjoyable. And at the end, we'll uncover the hidden reason why staying disciplined often feels impossible to stick around, because things are about to get interesting. Framework Part 1: Amplify sensory stimulation. Let's begin with the power of visual reinforcement. A deceptively simple yet highly effective habit is transforming your calendar into a scoreboard, marking each successful day of habit completion with a bold red X. This strategy isn't just about keeping track, it leverages the principles of visual conditioning and habit reinforcement to hardwire consistency into your routine. As we saw with social media addiction, visual cues have a profound impact on human motivation. The reason platforms like Snapchat use streaks is simple. The longer you maintain a streak, the more invested you become in not breaking it. The same principle applies here. By turning habit building into a visual game, you create an immediate sense of progress and accountability. Each red mark represents a step forward, and as the chain of progress grows longer, the pain of breaking it becomes a powerful deterrent. Research backs this up. A study published in the European Journal of Social Psychology found that, on average, it takes 66 days to solidify a new habit. A visual tracker works because it aligns with the fundamental habit loop of cue, routine, and reward. Seeing your streak serves as the cue, completing your habit is the routine, and the satisfaction of maintaining the chain becomes the reward. This process makes discipline feel far more engaging, reducing the reliance on sheer willpower, and instead harnessing a natural psychological drive for completion. While visual reinforcement provides clear markers of progress, auditory stimulation can enhance this effect by optimizing your cognitive state. You've probably heard of this concept before, but let's break it down from a different perspective. When 2 tones at slightly different frequencies are played separately in each ear, your brain perceives a third frequency, the difference between the two. This phenomenon is called a binaural beat, and it has been shown to influence brainwave activity. The most relevant frequency for self-improvement is 40 Hz. Studies suggest that binaural beats in this range can enhance cognitive performance, sharpen focus, and even improve memory retention. This means that listening to them while engaging in challenging tasks can create a mental state where deep work becomes easier and more enjoyable. Over time, your brain begins to associate this heightened state of productivity with self-improvement itself, making the process feel almost addictive. To maximize their effectiveness, binaural beats must be listened to with headphones, ensuring that each ear receives the correct frequency. Additionally, the volume should be kept as low as possible, just enough to hear the subtle pulsing effect without becoming a distraction. By layering auditory stimulation on top of visual reinforcement, you create a powerful sensory foundation that primes your mind for disciplined action. And with this first pillar in place, it's time to take things a step further by hacking your brain's dopamine response in the next part of this framework. Framework Part 2: Harness the power of instant gratification. As mentioned earlier, one of the key factors that makes something addictive is how effortlessly and instantly it provides engagement. Social media is a prime example. Content is served to you without any effort on your part, leading to an almost constant release of dopamine. This is precisely why the snowball technique is such a game-changing method for building self-discipline and motivation. But what exactly is the snowball technique? At its core, it revolves around the idea of starting with small, easily achievable tasks that deliver quick rewards. Think of it like a snowball, rolling downhill starting small, but accumulating size and momentum as it progresses. By beginning with simple, low-effort actions, you trigger an immediate sense of accomplishment, reinforcing a cycle of success. This process mimics the dopamine response from social media scrolling, but redirects it toward productive habits instead. The genius of this technique lies in how it capitalizes on momentum. When you complete a small task, your brain rewards you with dopamine, making you more inclined to tackle the next task. This creates a positive feedback loop, where minor victories stack up, naturally pushing you toward more challenging goals. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes effortless, not because of sheer willpower, but because your brain has learned to associate action with immediate gratification. So, how does this work in real life? It starts with something ridiculously simple like making your bed. This requires almost no effort but immediately provides a sense of order and control, reinforcing the mindset that you're starting the day with a small win. Next, move on to another effortless task, like drinking a glass of water. This not only reinforces your momentum, but also has a direct physiological benefit, making you feel refreshed and energized. From here, the key is gradual progression. Once you've built some momentum, you transition into moderately difficult tasks, maybe reviewing notes for 5 minutes, organizing your workspace, or replying to an important email. By the time you reach your most demanding tasks, whether it's deep study, an intense workout, or working on a long-term project, you're already in motion, making it significantly easier to maintain focus and effort. Beyond structuring your day with easy wins, another way to leverage instant gratification is by incorporating naturally rewarding stimuli into your routine. One powerful example: cold showers. While initially uncomfortable, they cause a sustained release of dopamine, which differs from the sharp spikes and crashes caused by social media and gaming. This long-lasting effect enhances focus, boosts resilience, and conditions your brain to seek out challenges rather than avoid them. Unlike artificial dopamine spikes that lead to crashes and demotivation, cold exposure creates a balanced and steady dopamine curve, helping you stay motivated throughout the day. By mastering this balance, you can rewire your brain to not only enjoy self-improvement, but actively crave it. And now that we've optimized how you engage with productivity, it's time to unlock the final piece of the puzzle, underlying issue that may be holding you back from fully committing to hard work. Framework Part 3: Redefining rest for peak performance. One of the biggest obstacles to sustaining motivation isn't laziness, it's dopamine desensitization. In today's world, where constant stimulation is the norm, your brain has likely adapted to expect high-intensity rewards, making lower stimulation tasks feel dull and unappealing. This is why sitting down to read, study, or work can feel like an uphill battle. Your brain is simply too accustomed to high doses of dopamine. But don't worry, you don't need to isolate yourself in a monastery or meditate for 10 hours a day to fix this. The key to resetting your brain's reward system is to retrain it to find satisfaction in lower stimulation activities. And that starts with rethinking how you take breaks. If you're like most people, you probably fill your downtime with dopamine-heavy distraction scrolling through TikTok, binge-watching short-form content, or checking social media. While this might seem harmless, it actually makes returning to focus work much harder. Think about it. If you flood your brain with fast, high-reward stimuli during breaks, how will reading a book or solving a problem ever feel engaging in comparison? A better approach is to make your breaks intentionally boring. Instead of chasing entertainment between tasks, try doing something neutral like staring out of a window, taking a short walk without music, or simply sitting in silence. This contrast helps restore your brain's sensitivity to lower stimulation tasks, making it easier to focus when you return to work. In essence, the more boring your breaks, the more satisfying deep work becomes. This might sound counterintuitive, but it works because your brain naturally seeks novelty. If your break is low stimulation, your next task will feel more engaging by comparison. Another crucial shift is learning to inhabit the in-between moments of life. Consider what you typically do while waiting in line, sitting in traffic, or riding public transport. If you're like most people, you instinctively reach for your phone, drowning out the silence with music, social media, or endless scrolling. But each time you do this, you miss a golden opportunity, a moment to reset, observe, and be present. Cutting out unnecessary stimulation in these idle moments allows your brain to recalibrate, making regular activities feel more rewarding. Over time, this subtle shift leads to increased focus, motivation, and a greater sense of control over your own mind. By redefining how you rest and intentionally lowering stimulation, you train your brain to crave deep work instead of distractions. And when you combine this with the previous step sensory reinforcement and instant gratification, create an unstoppable system that makes self-improvement not just a habit, but an addiction. Framework Extra Part: the root cause of motivation. The true source of motivation is where most people struggle, but it's also where the biggest opportunity for instant improvement lies. If you've ever found yourself lacking drive, procrastinating, or constantly needing external stimulation to get things done, it's likely because your motivation is tied to the wrong sources. Many people rely on short-term rewards, external validation, or pressure to stay productive. While these can work temporarily, they are unsustainable in the long run. The real key is to shift your motivation from external factors to internal purpose. Instead of working toward vague goals or societal expectations, find something deeply personal, a mission that resonates with you on a core level. When your actions align with a stronger sense of purpose, motivation stops being a struggle and starts feeling automatic. Understanding this can be a game changer. By making small adjustments in how you think about your goals, you can unlock a level of self-discipline and consistency that most people never achieve. Also, respect for making it this far. Just the fact that you're here, reading this, proves that you're someone who is committed to growth. Your dedication makes a difference not just in your life, but in the lives of those around you. Thanks for being here, and remember, you got this, bro.